Hello, I am Raffaele Zanoli, the coordinator of the Organic Data Network project. The full name of the project is Data Network for Better European Organic Market Information. In this tutorial, Helga Willer and I will illustrate some of the features of the OrMaCode, the Organic Market Data Manual and Code of Practice. In OrMaCode, we have collated and condensed all information needed to establish an effective and efficient organic market data development, production, and dissemination system. This video is aimed to all persons who have an interest in organic market data collection and dissemination. Our OrMaCode is divided in 4 sections. The first section, section A, is about how data are currently collected, the state of the art of organic market data collection in Europe. And it's about also how an organic market data collection system should be implemented. Part B is actually the real code of practice, where a list of principles are developed on how data should be collected and checked for their quality. Section C is actually the manual, the part where we implement the code of practice and show how, in practice, organic market data can be produced and disseminated. Finally, Section D, it's an overview on the description of data collection methods and how they could be implemented when collecting organic market data. Here we are in Section A. In Section A, we talk about how to implement an organic market data collection system. We start by talking on why we need good market data on the organic sector. Policymakers, companies, and farmers need good data for decision making. Also, we discuss and illustrate here on what is exactly an organic market data collection system, how it's currently implemented, and what kind of data you can find in it. We also discuss about the importance of better data on the organic market. Data quality is quite important because you can have many data, but if data are not reliable, decisions will be taken in the wrong way. Finally, in this section, we discuss on how to assess your current data at hand. The organic market data can be assessed according to the different dimensions of data quality which are listed in our code of practice. These are relevance of data. Data should be relevant for the sector. If they're not relevant, of course, the data will not be useful. Data should be accurate. Again, if the data are not accurate, then the decision can be very inaccurate too. Data should be comparable across time and different countries. Data should be coherent and easily accessible and clear. And finally, the data should be published in time, and they should be published at a regular point of time throughout the years. Section B is the core of our code of practice. There we lay out principles and indicators on better organic market data collection. Section B is divided in 3 main subsections. The first subsection deals about the institutional environment to make organic market data collection better. Here we set out 6 principles and indicators. These principles are about the mandate for data collection and professional independence of data collectors. We talk about the adequacy of resources to collect data, what kind of quality we expect that the data collectors are committed to. We also speak about statistical confidentiality and other issues like impartiality and objectivity of data. The second subsection is about the statistical processes for data collection. We talk about the sound methodology and how to evaluate this. We talk about appropriate statistical procedures and how to be cost-effective when collecting data. The final subsection is about statistical output. Here we have 5 principles. These 5 principles, again, include indicators and refer to the dimensions of quality as set out by the Eurostat Code of Practice. We already said these are relevance, accuracy and reliability, timeliness and punctuality, coherence and comparability, accessibility and clarity. Section C is a manual on how to establish and implement organic market data collection system. This manual has been thought for current and prospect organic market data collectors. In this section, we start from the Code of Practice principle indicators, and we give practical guidelines on how to collect different kinds of data. We talk about area data and livestock numbers. We talk about production volumes and values. We talk about farm level and retail price. We talk about domestic market and international trade data. For each of these data types, we provide practical guidelines on how data should be collected to achieve the best quality. In the guidelines, the different advantages and disadvantages of collecting data through the different means is thoroughly discussed. Concerning area data and livestock numbers, this is one of the areas where we have a lot of official statistics. There are still some problems here, and in the manual, specific guidelines are given on how these data are collected and how can be improved. Concerning production volumes and values, in the manual, the different means of data collection are listed and discussed. These data can be collected by control bodies. They can be collected through using standard estimates and multiplied for the areas, or we can collect this data by survey or market actors. Farm level and retail prices are collected only on few countries in Europe. The methods which are used to collect this data are very diverse in each country, and they range from surveys to other means of data collection. There are basically 2 means to collect domestic market data in different European countries. One way is to use retail panels. The other way is to collect data from household panels. These 2 different ways of data collection often yield different results. International trade data deals about import and export from different European countries. These data are probably the less developed in the whole European countries. The question here is that most of these data only deal with third country international trade. There are very limited information regarding intra-EU or intra-European trade. Besides, import and export are collected by various means, but there is not yet a system to collect this data through customs as there is for conventional market data. In this subsection, we show the development of survey tools. We will show you how to build a database. We will give you basic consideration about what kind of definition and nomenclature is needed to structure a good database. We will then show you kind of forms and the kind of questionnaires that you would need to collect data and then input this data on the database. Now Helga Willer will show you how to use forms and questionnaire for data input.
Thank you very much, Raffaele. I would now like to show you the questionnaire that we've developed in the Organic Data Network project and which we use to collect the organic market data in 39 European countries. So here's our questionnaire, which consists of several sheets. The first sheet is the overview sheet, where we ask for the contact details of the data provider so that we can come back to them in case we have questions. And we are also asking for the currency in which the data providers give us their data. The next sheet is the one about operators. We ask for producers, aquaculture production units, as it's called, processors, importers and exporters. Then comes our sheet on the land use and crops and products, where we ask for the conversion area, the fully converted area, as well as the production volume sold under an organic label, as well as the production value. It's very close to the Eurostat questionnaire, but we've added a couple of indicators and also a couple of crops. Yeah, and here's our sheet on the livestock, and also, again, this is very close to the Eurostat questionnaire, but here we have the differentiation between the average stock for the animals as well as the slaughtered animals. This is our questionnaire for the domestic market and in the international trade. There we are asking for the domestic market in volume, that is metric tons, as well as for the domestic market value for all marketing channels in million euros. And we are using the CPA classification, the classification of Eurostat for primary and manufactured products, according to which we have structured the questionnaire. So first we're asking for agricultural products, the value and the domestic market volume, and further down we're using this classification also for the manufactured products like bakery products, vegetables, processed fruit, milk and dairy products, and so on, meat and milk products. And we're using the same classification not only for the domestic market but also for the export volume and value, as well as the import volume and value. For the domestic market, we are not only asking for the total domestic market and all retail sales, but we also have in this sheet included the option that we ask for the sales through the general retail sales, that is the supermarkets, sales volume, sales value, same for specialized organic retailers, as well as direct sales and other sales channels.
Now I'll show you the next step, the actual data input. And we're using an Access database in the Organic Data Network, and I'll now show to you how it's structured and how we use it.
So this is the main table of our database. The first column in this main table is called Inserted, and it shows you the date on which a particular number was inserted. Next thing is the ID. For each dataset, each number has an ID. And then comes the package, or what we call package, and this is actually a link to further information on the actual source. This package is called AMI F018, and we have a place where we've stored more details about this package or source. Next thing comes the data year, or the year from which a figure comes, then the country, and then we state the crop or the product, like cow's milk, or cream products, dairy products, delicatessen, and so on. And next thing, very important, is the indicator. Like the area, we have the indicator and the unit actually in one area: production, retail sales in million euros, the production in million euros, and so on. And the next column is the label, which in this case is organic, but we also enter data for the total market and so on that we can compare, or also for other labels like fair trade. And the final column is the value. This is a very neat and tidy table, but of course we have additional information which is linked to the source, or also to the crop, and we've stored that additional information in dimension tables, as we call them, or lookup tables. We have one for the crop and products, where we classify the crop or product according to the CPA. We have one where we define the indicators, which also means that we've actually fixed rules for spelling indicators. And then here we have the dimension table for the data source, where we specify the source, in short, the name of the contact person, as well as the detailed source and the link, link to the internal place where we store the information, or also the external link if there is one. All necessary details on how to build a database and what the key challenges are, you will find in our OrMaCode on the Organic Data Network website.
And as a final step, I'll now show you how we extract the data, from the database, how we analyze them, and how we do the quality checks.
For this purpose, we use
pivot tables. Here we have a ready pivot table where you can see the production data, production in metric tons from Estonia for arable crops, cereals, and specifically for the cereal type. And here, for instance, we have the comparison between 2011 and 2012. And here in this column, we've programmed that everything where growth between those 2 years was bigger than 100% should be shown in red. And here we can actually see that the rye production grew substantially between 2011 and 2012 by 142%, which is actually not so plausible. But the original data provider told us that 2011 the harvest was extremely bad, whereas in 2012 it was really good. So actually the figure is correct, even though the quality check has shown that maybe something is wrong with it. Now I show you another pivot table and another quality check we do. We compare the overall total with the organic, and usually we say if it's more than 20%, organic is more than 20%, maybe something is wrong with the figure. And I have a nice example here again from the this time from the Czech Republic, where we can see that the apples, organic apples of all apples, is a very high share, and the apricots have a very high share as well, or pears, 60% of all pears in the Czech Republic organic. So this is obviously something that can't be right, or that needs to be asked. So we went back to the original data provider, and she told us that in organic the young plantations are included, whereas for the total data these are not, which is why we have these high shares.
So that is all for the moment. So now back to Raffaele.
This final subsection deals about publication and dissemination of data. Publishing and disseminated data is as important as collecting them well. Publication, of course, has to deal about making data easily accessible and clear for data users. Not all data will be available for free. So if you are selling your data, you will also have to find a good business model for it. Helga Willer will shortly show you how to retrieve in a simple way the statistical information stored in our project database.
Now I would like to show you our databases. On our website you will find them on the Organic Data Network website under Statistics, where we provide the data, notes on the data, as well as our questionnaire. And the data, we are presenting them in two forms. We have interactive tables as well as the full data set as an Excel table. The first interactive table is the one on the key data. Key data we mean, or key indicators on the total organic land, all exports, all producers, all retail sales, or the growth of the retail sales. And now I would like to show you how you select the data. For instance, we would like to have a look at the data from Austria, comparing those to the Czech Republic, and we look at the area and maybe the growth of the retail sales, or the total retail sales, maybe for the year 2011. So we have to scroll down here and then say show data. And here we have the data of the two countries. We can compare their agricultural area, 500,000 or 540,000 for Austria, 460,000 for the Czech Republic. Here we have their total retail sales in million euros. We have the euros per person, per capita consumption, as well as the growth rate in 1 year. But we have further tables as well. We have another one on the crop area by crop and the production. Perhaps you would like to have a look at the area in Austria for selected crops and the share of the area and the area. And perhaps you want to look at apples as well as the barley, and we want to have a look at the data for 2012. Again, show data. And there we see that the apples and the barley, we have the data, but obviously we don't have shares of the organic land. Then we have one interactive table on the retail sales, where we can compare again the countries, for instance Germany and Austria.
with just one indicator, all retail sales. Perhaps we select all products for the year 2012. Again, show data. If you scroll down, we have them here. This is not so comfortable to look at, but we can shift things actually around. We can have the country here and the indicator like this, and there we can see the sales values for these countries for 2012 for the selected products. Now you might notice that we have little stars almost beside each figure, and this means that we have providing an explanation to this figure. And for the Austrian and Germany figures, the explanation is mostly that these data are not complete and that there's a certain coverage gap for the total market as well as for the products. And we provide an Excel sheet, detailed notes by data, by country and so on, where we provide here, for instance, Austria on the area or on the retail sales, certain explanations. Then we have another table with a share of total retail sales. And perhaps we now want to have a look at all countries, and perhaps we have a look for the eggs. Now eggs for consumption, the share of the value for the year 2012. And here we see the result that the shares for the eggs are actually quite high. You can see that Switzerland, 20% of all eggs sold are organic, but also for the other countries these shares are actually quite high. And finally we provide the full data set as an Excel sheet which you can download here.
Section D deals with the methodological background of data collection. It details in 8 simple steps how you can start collect primary data on the organic market following a sound methodology. The first steps deals with defining the aim and the schedule of your data collection. You should know your human and financial resources, not to waste them. The second step is about secondary research. Before you start collecting primary data, you should know the data which are already existing, and you should define as much as possible the universe of the data collection. The third step is about sampling. Sampling is about from whom you want to collect the data. In some cases you can do a census. You mean you can interview or you can get data on the universe of your subjects. In some cases, the universe of a population is too large, so you will need to go using a sampling procedure. In this section, the sampling procedures will be detailed very simply and very clearly. Step 4 to 6 deals about check for potential survey errors, choice of research designs, a choice of data collection method. You could decide if you want to collect the data online, by face-to-face interviews, or by mail survey. Step 7 is about questionnaire design. Step 8 is about quality checks once you have collected data. In part C, we already spoke about the technicalities of how you can make plausibility checks in practice. In this part, we only deal on the methodological background behind plausibility checks. So we are at the end of our journey through OrMaCode. The Organic Data Network project aimed to increase market transparency in the European organic sector. We have tried to provide tools to make organic market data development, production and dissemination more efficient and effective. We also aimed to provide easily available market data through interactive tools on our website. We aim to act as a coordinating center among all stakeholders involved in organic market data collection and dissemination in Europe. We wanted to establish a long-term, permanent network of these stakeholders. We hope that with OrMaCode, the code of practice and the manual on organic market data collection, we have provided a useful tool to enable this network to produce more and better data in the future.